Hello and welcome to Lesson 8, Multiplying a Whole Number by a Fraction. Thought I would include this fun picture of my horse and I. Of my horse and I took him to the beach one day, and he really did not want to get in the water. This is a picture of me trying to get him in the water, but it was a fun day. Anyway, let's start our lesson. Okay. So, we are going to multiply a whole number by a fraction today, and we have done this before. This is not something brand new. This is kind of like a review lesson. Make sure it's still fresh in our brain. Okay, so let's look at our equations. Now, remember, repeated addition is the same thing as multiplication. And if you look at this equation, 9/10 plus 9/10 plus 9/10, you are doing repeated addition. It may be repeated addition of a fraction, but it is repeated addition. So the first thing I want you to think about is, what would this look like as a multiplication equation? What would this look like as a multiplication equation? Now remember too, you should have paper and pencil out. You should be writing this equation down. Okay, you should be saying the answers to my questions out loud because it helps you learn when you do that. So I've got 9/10 and it's done 3 times. So then if I wanted to write this as a multiplication equation, it would look like that. 3 times 9/10. All right, so what would be our answer? What would be our product? Well, if we were going to do repeated addition, we would add the numerators. We do not add the denominators. So we would have 9, 18, 27. If we solved it using multiplication, 9 times 3 is 27/10. Okay, remember the denominator just stays the same. We don't do anything different with the denominator. Now, also, let's take it one step further and let's change this into a mixed number. You might see the answer as an improper fraction. You might see the answer as a mixed number. Keep that in mind when you take the quiz. Keep that in mind when you take the quiz. So if I want to change this to a mixed number, I ask myself, well, how many groups of 10 are in 27? Because I'm working with groups of 10. 10, 20. There's 2 groups of 10. That lands you on 20. And if you're at 20, then you're going to have 7 left out of the next group of 10. So there you go. So we wrote our multiplication equation, we wrote our improper fraction, and then we changed it to a mixed number. Okay, so let's look at the next one, and I'm going to give you a second. Write that equation down. Go ahead and write it as a multiplication equation. Okay, so hopefully you wrote 4 times 3/4, because we're doing 3/4 4 times. I can add my numerators, 3, 6, 9, 12, or I can think of it as 3 times 4, which is 12/4. What do I need to do now? Look back up here at this one. I took that improper fraction and I changed it into a mixed number. So let's do the same here. Okay, so we're working with groups of 4. The rectangles, the circles, whatever if you were going to draw a picture, it would be in 4 pieces. How many of those groups of 4 does it take to get to 12? 4, 8, 12. It takes 3. And there's no leftovers. You land right on 12. Remember, you could think of this as division. 12 divided by 4 is 3. You could think of this as division. 27 divided by 10 is 2, remainder 7. Out of the next group of 10. All right, so go ahead on number 3. I want you to write the repeated addition, write it as a multiplication equation. I want you to notice too, on the numbers 1 and number 2, I put the whole number in the front and I put the fraction on the other side. And then on this one, I put the fraction in the front and the whole number behind. Now, does that make a difference? No, because you learned in 3rd grade that 4 times 3 is the same as 3 times 4. You can turn around the numbers in a multiplication equation, and it still will equal the same thing. Okay, so it doesn't matter that I wrote it like this. All right, so we're going to think of this as 11 times 4, 11, 22, 33, 44. And it's going to give us 44/12. Okay, we're going to change it into a mixed number, so I want you to think of it as division. 44 divided by 12. How many groups of 12 are in 44? Twelve, 24, 36, it would be 3 groups, lands you on 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. I have 8 left over out of the next group of 12. All right, so let's take this and let's stick it in a word problem. Diani poured 9/10 liter of punch into each of 6 bottles. She poured 9/10 liter of punch into each of 6 bottles. How much liters of punch did she pour in all? So she did 9/10 6 times. Let's write an equation. Go ahead and solve that equation. Okay, so we can multiply the numerator times the whole number. 9 times 6 is 54. And then our denominator just comes on over. 54/10. Remember, I'm going to go ahead and change this into a mixed number because I'm giving you a heads up. I'm going to do that on the quiz. All right, so 10. How many groups of 10 are in 54? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 5 groups lands us on 50 with 4 out of the next group of 10 left. So now you've got these 3 questions right here. These are on your own. These are independent. And then we will go over them when it is time for our class meeting. Okay, so make sure that you are writing them down and you're ready to go over the answers. Talk to you when we meet.